Hey kids, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 reasons the world is scary and how we can combat that. Well, let's just get on with it. Number 1, there's currently a propaganda-based civil war. Look at your media. Look at what you're seeing on TV, what you're seeing on the YouTube, the Google, whatever, wherever you get your news. Check it out. Every news source is leaning one way or the other. Now, I'm not here to tell you which way you need to lean, but I'm letting you know that we are seeing propaganda, and both sides are doing it. And when you see that happening, when you pick your tribe, you tend to start to be a little more gullible is a really harsh word, but very true. And both sides can be gullible. So when everything we see is meant to change your mind, to cause you rage, that is a propaganda war. Check out what you're seeing. Even your friends, those memes. Memes are basically propaganda. That is what it is. So make sure that when you see something, even if you're laughing, if you're on that side of it, make sure that you don't move so far that way that you lose sight of reality. Number 2, the pandemic destroyed our sense of community. When the pandemic happened, people stopped going to sporting events. They stopped going to church. They stopped going to schools. They stopped going anywhere where there could be community, where they could talk to people and learn about people and build relationships. Everything became computer driven for almost 2 years in some places. Some places people are still scared. Even this far out, there are people that are still scared to be out. So when it destroyed that, it made people become more tribal, and tribal for no reason other than to be tribal. People get mad because the other side said it. It used to be where if you had a particular sporting team, your college, your NFL team, your NBA team, whatever your sporting team was, you could say you were a member of that team and the other team could make fun of you, and you can make fun of, you can go back and forth. Then all of a sudden, it became so serious, and it became this red-blue monstrosity of, well, you're a Republican and you're a Democrat, and people started to just be ugly at each other, and they started to just call out other people for being ugly, and in that they became ugly. So if you look at news today, a lot of the news is commentary about the other news source. You see Fox News complaining about MSNBC and how they are not reporting the news properly, and then you got MSNBC complaining about Fox News, and vice versa. And then you have these people in the middle saying, well, I'm just going to choose one, and then if you choose one, you're getting one narrative. If you choose another, you're getting another narrative, and both people think it's true. And that leads me into the 3rd reason our world is scary: censorship. Because you don't know what's true, because things are just being shut down. Even this channel was shut down. I had a channel or a show pulled for misinformation, and it turns out that all that information was okay. Now, I reposted that video and put it on Rumble, so you can go to Rumble and see it in its entirety, and you can see that there's no misinformation in it. It was just a robotic algorithm that said, no, he's talking about this, he doesn't get to talk about this, so it just shut me down. So that censorship may not have come from the far left or the far right or some conspiracy. It was just a computer program that said this person only has this many followers and he can't talk about this because we don't know who he is, and blah, blah, blah. But then you start wondering how much of that was purposely put into the algorithms. We don't know. And we will eventually. So that was number 3 reason, censorship. Number 4, the failure of higher education to give students an education. Now, I have for a long time been disenchanted with the state of college and universities because they would give degrees to youth that couldn't go out into the world and use those degrees to pay back their loans. One of the best examples I give is, as a youth minister, the only way to get a degree in theology is to go to a Catholic university or a Christian university if you want to do that. And those are private. Private universities cost more, but they will give you student loans, and then you will rack up student loans. sometimes about $100,000 for a liberal arts degree, and then you'll go into a youth ministry position in some places making $20,000 a year, in some places making $40,000 a year. And if you're not making at least twice what your education was per year, you're never going to pay it back. So if you paid $50,000, you should be making $100,000 a year. That's just math. Unfortunately, they give those loans to anybody. Now, they won't give someone a small business loan to get started, or $20,000, $30,000 small business loan, but they will absolutely give them student loans to go get a degree where they will never ever be able to pay it back. And number 5, God is being replaced more and more by convoluted theories. I say that because people will believe the silliest things. Now, you can say that believing in God is a silly thing, and yes, it is silly because you have to be like a child to love God, and I do, and I believe in the Christian God, Jesus. Now listen, there's not a whole lot of difference between what I believe as my creator, my God, than what some of these people that claim to be atheists believe about what's happening in the universe. And I say that because simulation theory is out there. And that's just one of many theories about how humans were created. When you start to go on to all these theories, you have to make these far-reaching stretches, and some of them are silly. Like, for example, the simulation theory is that everything around you is a simulation written by a computer program, a computer program like Matrix. So we don't even know that we are computer programs, and we're just walking around in a simulation until we die and we respawn into this other life. And how did the simulation get there? Well, this programmer, just one programmer, wrote the code. One programmer wrote the code. So in the simulation theory, God is the programmer. So can we call God the programmer? I don't know. The other one is that, no, we were aliens and they came down from another planet and then they changed our DNA. Anyway, there's a lot of theories out there. And as we got pushed away from our education, like our real education, and that is not only what we get in our schools, but what we get in our churches and what we get in our homes and what we get with our friends when we go out, we started to believe whatever we started to see. And if you go into certain rabbit holes, you will start to think that God doesn't exist because he's a computer programmer, or we're just spinning on this ball, or whatever that might be. And then we put all that together, this lack of believing that a God really exists because we're just spinning on a ball. We educate our kids but don't give them enough money to actually make a living, so then they're just struggling and facing hardship. And they're educated, so they're angry with the system and they want to get their loans paid back. You can't get all the information, because if the information is deemed wrong by the people that are in charge of the information, you're just not going to see it. The pandemic destroyed our sense of community, and we are working on getting that back. And right now, the propaganda, the meme wars are worse than ever, because you send one, you get sent, you get banned. So you find a meme on Facebook, you share the meme on Facebook, and Facebook says you are spreading bad memes. It's funny. It's because the algorithm has to catch up. But know that in the next few months, years, as we are looking at what's happening in the world, these 5 things are going to make a big difference, because they are the reason we're having a lot of the issues that we're having now. And we'll talk about that more in a later show. As you can see, we're coming to you from a new studio. This is at St. Gregory's Abbey, and looking forward to bringing more shows to you from here. So if you haven't yet, like, share, subscribe. We could really use that. We're pretty close to getting our little permanent channel, our channel name. I really want to do that. So if you can do that and help us out, I'd appreciate it. In the meantime, work hard, be kind, and have fun.